You could swallow, I mean, an entire jumbo-sized bottle of drugstore calcium right now. And depending on the specific state of your digestive tract, your body might absorb absolutely zero of it.
Yeah, literally zero.
Right. You'd just be creating, very expensive calcium-rich bodily waste.
It's true, yeah.
You buy the premium vitamins, you follow the instructions, you take them every morning with your coffee, and you just assume your body is doing the rest. But your body isn't some simple input-output machine.
No, not at all. It's a wildly complex, highly specific chemical environment.
Exactly. And if you don't understand the chemistry of what you are actually swallowing, well, you're just throwing your money away.
It is arguably one of the most frustrating nutritional traps out there. Because, we are culturally conditioned to believe that a vitamin's just a vitamin.
Right. You just look at the milligram count on the back.
Exactly. You look at the number and assume that's what enters your bloodstream.
Yeah.
But the reality is way more nuanced, especially when your internal plumbing has been altered.
Whether that's by surgery or, even just by common daily medications.
Right.
So, welcome to today's deep dive. We are cracking the case on why the physical form of a supplement matters just as much, if not way more, than the amount.
Yes.
Specifically, we are diving into the surprisingly complex world of calcium supplementation after bariatric surgery, unpacking the great battle of calcium citrate versus calcium carbonate.
And to map all of this out, we're relying on some really heavy-hitting clinical insights today.
Yeah, from the team over at Bury Liquid Force.
Right. They manufacture these specialized supplements out in Adels, Iowa, and they sit on the Corporate Council for the American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery.
Which is a huge deal.
It is. They've mapped out exactly why this absorption failure happens, and their materials are all anchored in the ASMBS Nutritional Guidelines 2016 update.
Which acts as, the definitive playbook for anyone trying to navigate post-operative bariatric nutrition.
The absolute gold standard, yes.
Okay, so I want to put you in a scenario. I am standing in the vitamin aisle of a massive pharmacy, right?
Okay, I'm picturing it.
I'm staring at this giant wall of calcium supplements. And the vast majority of them, especially the really cheap ones in those huge economy-sized bottles, are calcium carbonate.
Oh, almost all of them, yeah.
Tell me what is happening on a molecular level when someone swallows one of those and why it suddenly just stops working for people after they've had weight loss surgery.
So the culprit here isn't necessarily a bad pill. The culprit is, it's stomach acid.
Stomach acid.
Yeah. Let's look at the fundamental chemistry of calcium carbonate. Carbonate is a calcium salt. Think of it like a microscopic rock.
Okay, microscopic rock.
And the defining biological characteristic of this specific salt is its tightly locked molecular bond.
I see.
To break that bond and actually extract the usable calcium hidden inside, your body relies on a highly acidic environment.
Right.
The stomach has to maintain a pH level of around 1.5 to 3.5 to effectively dissolve that carbonate compound.
So it's like a locked door, and a vat of highly concentrated stomach acid is the only key that fits the lock.
That is a perfect way to look at it, actually. In a standard, unaltered digestive system, you swallow that giant carbonate pill, it drops into that vat of acid, and the chemical bond is shattered.
Liberating the calcium.
Exactly. The elemental calcium is freed up to be absorbed as it moves into your intestines. But bariatric procedures completely upend that environment.
Because they're changing the actual geography of the stomach.
Right. Whether a patient undergoes a gastric sleeve or a gastric bypass, the surgeons are drastically reducing the physical volume of the stomach.
Which inherently reduces the amount of hydrochloric acid being produced, right? They're taking the acid factories offline.
Precisely. So if you drop a calcium carbonate pill into that modified, heavily low-acid environment, the pill just sits there.
The corrosive key is missing.
The key is missing. The carbonate bond remains completely locked, and the entire compound just passes through your digestive tract completely untouched.
Completely unabsorbed. Taking calcium carbonate without enough stomach acid is, it's like trying to make hot cocoa by pouring the powder into a glass of ice water.
Oh, wow, yes.
Like, you can stir it vigorously for 20 minutes, the powder is in the glass, you're looking right at it, but it's not dissolving into anything your body can actually assimilate or use.
The visual of cocoa powder clumping in ice water is exactly what is happening biologically with carbonate in a post-bariatric stomach.
That is so wild to think about.
And this is exactly why the ASMBS guidelines draw such a hard line in the sand regarding patients switching to calcium citrate.
Because citrate is different.
Right. It's a completely different chemical structure.
Yeah.
It doesn't require a highly acidic environment to break down at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the bond is easily dissolved, meaning it's absorbed reliably even in that highly modified, surgically altered, low-acid environment.
Now, here's the part that completely blows my mind, though.
Yeah.
This stomach acid issue isn't confined to just this niche group of bariatric patients.
No, not at all.
Because if the core problem is low stomach acid, I mean, we have to talk about the millions of people artificially creating that exact same low-acid environment every single day.
The implications are massive. Just think about the sheer prevalence of acid-reducing medications.
Like proton pump inhibitors.
Yes, PPIs, medications like omeprazole, they are some of the most widely consumed drugs on the market.
For sure.
A lot of bariatric patients take them temporarily after surgery just to help the new stomach staple lines heal. But then you have millions of non-bariatric patients taking PPIs long-term for severe acid reflux or GERD.
Meaning they are intentionally turning off their stomach's acid factories to stop the heartburn.
Exactly.
Which means if they are walking into that same pharmacy aisle and grabbing that cheap giant bottle of calcium carbonate,
They're likely getting almost zero benefit from it.
they're swallowing the cocoa powder into the ice water.
They really are. For anyone on a daily PPI, calcium citrate is the far superior biologically dependable choice. The environment simply cannot support carbonate.
I know there is a popular biological workaround that floats around a lot of internet forums.
Another food trick.
Yeah. People say, well, just take your calcium carbonate with a massive dinner. The heavy food triggers enough stomach acid to make the carbonate dissolve.
And, well, in a normal full-size stomach, taking carbonate with food does trigger a surge in gastric acid production,
Right.
which absolutely helps absorption. But post-bariatric surgery, the overall acid capacity is permanently handicapped.
It's just not there.
Even the heaviest meal a post-op patient can physically tolerate will not generate the sheer volume of acid required to fully dissolve a carbonate supplement.
Wow. So citrate really just eliminates all that guesswork.
It does. It works reliably whether you take it with a huge steak dinner or on a completely empty stomach first thing in the morning.
Which begs the question then, I mean, if calcium carbonate is so incredibly finicky and requires this perfect acidic storm to even function, why does it completely dominate the supplement market?
Well, it comes down to raw concentration and manufacturing costs.
Ah, the economics of vitamin.
Always. Calcium carbonate is remarkably dense. It's about 40% elemental calcium by weight.
Okay, 40%.
Calcium citrate, by contrast, is much bulkier and less dense. It is only about 21% elemental calcium by weight.
Got it. So if I am a supplement manufacturer, I can pack way more actual calcium into a single, smaller, significantly cheaper pill if I just use carbonate.
Exactly. The profit margins and convenience factors for the general population are undeniable.
Right, for someone with normal stomach acid.
For them, carbonate is a highly efficient, cost-effective delivery system. But for the bariatric patient, or the patient on chronic acid reflux medication, that high concentration is a total illusion.
Because having a pill that is 40% calcium is utterly useless if your body can only extract and absorb like 2% of it.
Precisely.
Okay, so I am looking at this theoretical bottle of calcium citrate now. We know that the citrate vehicle is non-negotiable because it bypasses the stomach acid problem entirely.
Yes.
But if citrate is so much less dense, I mean, only 21% calcium by weight, these pills must be enormous.
But they can be pretty big, yeah.
If the absorption environment is finally fixed with citrate, what is the actual payload we are trying to deliver here? How much calcium do we actually need?
Let's look directly at the clinical targets set by the ASMBS for this. The daily requirement isn't a one-size-fits-all number.
Oh, it's not.
No, it depends heavily on the specific bariatric procedure a patient has undergone. For an adjustable gastric band, a sleeve gastrectomy, or a standard Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, the daily target is set between 1,200 and 1,500 milligrams.
But there is a different, much higher target for the more complex surgeries, right?
Yes. For procedures like the BPDDS, which is the biliopancreatic diversion with duodenal switch, the math fundamentally changes.
How so?
The target for those patients jumps to 1,800 to 2,400 milligrams daily.
Wow. Okay, I want to pause on the BPDDS for a second because earlier we were just talking about the stomach. Why does that specific surgery demand almost double the daily calcium? What else is changing in the plumbing?
It's a profound anatomical shift. When we talk about absorbing calcium, the stomach just preps the material. The actual absorption happens in the small intestine.
Okay.
Imagine the small intestine as a long, winding highway lined with little calcium catchers.
Catchers, right?
A standard gastric bypass skips a small section of this highway, but a BPDS procedure bypasses a massive length of the small intestine.
So the surgeons are drastically reducing the amount of surface area available to actually absorb nutrients.
Exactly.
So if you're closing down 70% of the highway, you have to flood the remaining open stretch with way more cars just to ensure enough of them get caught by the toll booths.
That is the perfect visualization of malabsorption, yes.
Mm-hmm.
To get the necessary amount of calcium into the bloodstream through a much shorter section of intestine, you have to drastically increase the sheer volume of calcium you are sending down the pipeline.
But we really need to clarify something absolutely crucial about those numbers. When the ASMBS says 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams, they are talking specifically about elemental calcium.
Yes, and the distinction between total weight and elemental weight is where so many patients get derailed.
Because it's confusing.
It is.
Yeah.
Elemental calcium is the actual usable payload of the mineral that your body can absorb. It is not the total weight of the giant pill sitting in the palm of your hand.
Because we just established that calcium citrate is only 21% elemental calcium.
Right.
So if a pill weighs 1,000 milligrams on a jeweler's scale, only about 210 milligrams of that is actual usable calcium.
Exactly.
The remaining 790 milligrams is just the citrate compound that was used as the vehicle to get it past the stomach.
Right, the vehicle. So the ASMBS target numbers refer purely to the elemental payload.
Yeah.
You cannot just glance at the front label of a bottle where it flashes calcium citrate 1,000 milligrams in giant, shiny letters.
Marketing letters.
Exactly. You have to physically turn the bottle around, scan the black and white supplement facts panel, and find the specific line that dictates exactly how much elemental calcium is yielded in each serving.
Okay, so assuming we've done all the math correctly and found our elemental payload, we still can't talk about calcium without bringing in its ultimate biological wingman.
Yes.
Because calcium, even in the perfect citrate vehicle, cannot do this job by itself.
No, it cannot. Calcium is essentially blind without vitamin D.
Specifically vitamin D3.
Right. We often think of vitamin D as just another item on the daily vitamin checklist,
Yeah.
but it actually functions as a powerful hormone within the body.
A hormone.
Yes. When vitamin D3 enters your system, it travels to the nucleus of your intestinal cells and essentially acts as a biological key.
Okay.
It signals those cells to build the specific calcium-binding proteins required to pull calcium out of the digestive tract and transport it into the bloodstream.
Oh, wow. So without adequate vitamin D3 actively building those catchers, you can swallow all the pure elemental calcium citrate in the world and it will just bounce off the intestinal walls and exit the body.
It is entirely codependent. They need each other.
So what's the recommended amount?
This is why the ASMBS guidance forcefully pairs calcium intake with at least 3,000 international units of vitamin D3 daily.
Okay, 3,000 IU.
And in clinical practice, that vitamin D dosage is usually titrated upward based on a patient's routine blood lab results to ensure those intestinal doors stay wide open.
Okay, wait. I am doing the math in my head right now and I am incredibly confused.
Okay, what's the math?
If my daily target is 1,500 milligrams of purely elemental calcium, and we know that citrate pills are notoriously bulky because they only contain 21% elemental calcium.
Right.
Does that mean I'm supposed to just choke down a massive handful of golf ball-sized pills every morning with my breakfast?
Oh, absolutely not.
How is that even physically possible without getting sick?
It's not, and the logistics of what you were describing highlight the single most common scheduling failure patients make.
Really?
You absolutely cannot take your daily calcium requirement all at once. In fact, if you try to take all 1,500 milligrams at breakfast just to get it over with, you are essentially throwing more than half of it directly into the garbage.
Wait, why? If the stomach acid issue is completely fixed with citrate and I have enough vitamin D3 opening the doors, why can't I just process it all at once?
Because the human intestines have a very strict, biologically hardwired speed limit for absorption.
A speed limit.
Yes. Your body can only process and absorb roughly 500 to 600 milligrams of elemental calcium at any one given time.
Wow, okay.
The biological machinery simply caps out at that number.
So imagine those intestinal calcium receptors are a literal toll booth.
Okay, I like this.
If 1,500 cars or, 1,500 milligrams of calcium all come barreling down the highway and show up at the toll booth at the exact same millisecond, There is a massive gridlocked traffic jam.
A total jam, yes.
The toll booth operator can only process a few cars at a time. So 500 cars manage to squeeze through the gates, and the remaining 1,000 cars just get turned away and routed straight out of town, completely wasted.
Biologically speaking, any elemental calcium that hits the intestine above that 500 to 600 milligram threshold is literally flushed away as waste. Your body just expels it.
So to hit a 1,500 milligram daily target, staggering the traffic is non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. You have to divide your intake into a split schedule.
What does that schedule look like?
Well, you are looking at a minimum of 2, usually 3, separate doses spaced out across the day.
Okay.
A standard, highly effective schedule might look like taking your first 500 milligram dose in the mid-morning, your second 500 milligram dose in the late afternoon, and your final 500 milligram dose in the evening.
That keeps a steady trickle of cars arriving at the toll booth.
Exactly, keeping you safely under the biological speed limit and ensuring maximum absorption.
But wait, the plot thickens here, because scheduling those split doses isn't just about spacing the calcium out from itself.
No, it's not.
You also have to play air traffic controller with your other daily supplements.
Well.
We need to talk about the iron rule.
The iron rule. It is one of the most inflexible laws of bariatric nutrition.
Let's hear it.
Calcium completely, unequivocally blocks the absorption of iron.
Completely.
Yes. Both of these minerals are what we call divalent intercations.
Meaning they carry a positive to electrical charge.
Right. And because they look so similar structurally, the body uses the exact same absorption doorway in the intestines to process both of them.
Oh, I see.
And when they compete for that single doorway, calcium always wins.
Taking iron and calcium at the exact same time is like trying to violently shove two massive linebackers through
a single revolving door.
Yes. Calcium is the slightly bigger guy who just shoulders iron out of the way every single time, leaving the iron stranded on the outside.
The iron gets completely neutralized.
Yeah.
If you swallow an iron supplement alongside your calcium citrate, you will get zero therapeutic benefit from the iron.
That is terrible. So how much of a biological buffer zone do you actually need to clear that revolving door?
Calcium doses must be kept at a strict minimum of 2 hours apart from any iron supplements.
2 hours.
2 hours before or 2 hours after. That is the necessary window for the intestine to process one mineral and clear the receptor pathway for the next one.
Wow, that requires some intense calendar management.
It really does.
Let's think about a normal day. Most post-op patients are taking a comprehensive bariatric multivitamin, right?
Usually, yes.
The sources we reviewed from Bari Liquid Force mentioned their specific liquid-filled gel caps, which are packed with iron.
And they include iron for critical reason. Iron deficiency anemia is incredibly common and dangerous post-surgery.
Right. But because that daily multivitamin is packed with iron, the manufacturers physically cannot put your daily calcium requirement into that same multivitamin capsule.
No, they can't. If they combine them into one massive pill, the calcium would instantly neutralize the iron inside your gut.
Which means the patient is left solving a daily scheduling puzzle.
A very tedious puzzle.
You have to take your multivitamin containing iron. Then you have to wait a minimum of 2 hours. Then you take your first calcium dose, wait a few more hours, take your second dose. It takes genuine mental load to manage this.
The mental load is very real, which is why establishing a rigid daily routine is the only way most patients succeed.
How do people usually do it?
Well, let's walk through a common, practical daily layout. A patient might take their bariatric multivitamin with iron first thing in the morning, say around 8:00 a.m.
Okay, 8:00 a.m.
They go about their morning. Then, around 10:30 or 11:00 a.m., the 2-hour buffer zone is cleared. So they take their first dose of calcium citrate.
Got it.
They take their second dose of calcium citrate around 3:00 p.m. in the late afternoon. And they take their third and final calcium dose around 8:00 p.m., perhaps a bit before bed.
You just have to consciously build those 2-hour buffer zones into the architecture of your day.
You really do.
Okay, let's synthesize all of this, because we've covered a tremendous amount of actionable biochemical intel here.
We definitely have.
If you want to stop wasting your money, stop frustrating yourself, and actually give your altered biology what it desperately needs, there are 4 non-negotiable rules of engagement. Number 1, ditch the calcium carbonate. Whether you've undergone bariatric surgery or you are just someone managing daily heartburn with an over-the-counter PPI, your body simply does not have the corrosive stomach acid required to dissolve that rock.
Nope.
You must switch to the calcium citrate vehicle.
Absolutely. And number 2, aim for the correct clinical target.
Right.
For the vast majority of bariatric patients, that means securing 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams of purely elemental calcium every single day.
Elemental, read the back label.
Read the back label. And ensuring it is paired with an adequate, lab-verified dose of vitamin D3 to keep those intestinal doors open.
Number 3, respect the biological speed limit. Never take more than 500 to 600 milligrams of calcium at one time.
Not unless you want to create a traffic jam.
Right. Anything over that creates a massive traffic jam at the cellular toll booth, and your body will just flush the excess away. You have to stagger your doses.
And finally, number 4, relentlessly enforce the 2-hour buffer zone.
The iron rule.
The iron rule. Never let your calcium citrate doses get anywhere near your iron supplements or your iron-heavy multivitamins. They will fight for the same doorway, and your iron levels will plummet.
It is deeply fascinating how much of human health simply comes down to understanding the mechanics of the machine you are operating.
It is, and that realization is why exploring this deeply specific topic is so empowering for you, the listener.
Totally.
We live in an era where we often view supplements as magic bullets. We assume that if we just pop a pill, we have checked the box and secured our health.
But human biology is wildly nuanced, especially when we intervene with surgery or chronic medications.
Exactly. Taking true control of your health means moving beyond the front label of the bottle. It means understanding how to facilitate that health on a cellular level.
Yeah.
Mastering these subtle chemical interactions ensures that all the relentless effort, time, and money you're putting into your well-being is actually yielding a result.
It really changes your entire perspective on what a vitamin actually is. And it leaves me with a final, lingering thought for you to ponder long after we sign off today.
Okay, let's hear it.
We just spent this entire deep dive exploring how a single, seemingly minor environmental change, lowering our stomach acid, completely neutralizes a widely accepted everyday supplement like calcium carbonate.
It fundamentally breaks the system.
Right. So it makes you wonder what other essential nutrients, what other expensive daily vitamins might be quietly slipping past us right now, completely unabsorbed, simply because we're taking them in the wrong biological form.
Or pairing them with the wrong food.
Or swallowing them at the wrong time of day. How many other nutritional traffic jams are we creating without even realizing it?
Uncovering those blind spots is a fascinating endeavor.
Until next time, keep questioning what's actually hiding on that label, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.